Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. I'm Dustin, and this is your Week 1 waiver wire show. We are only a few days away from kickoff. So excited that it's here. Before we get into it, though, DraftKings, you still have a few days to sign up, deposit at least $5 more, use the promo code FST or follow the link in the card or in the description. DraftKings will give you an entry into a free cash game, and we'll send you a shirt as long as you do it before the season starts. You only got a few days left, so get in there and sign up. You're going to want to do those this year. They're a lot of fun. So let's talk waiver wire pickups. Your drafts are pretty much over. You're looking at your bench. You're looking at the waiver wires. Is there anyone that you want to swap? Go ahead and take a look at my Week 1 waiver wire show from last year. I feel like I did a pretty good job. Just want to pat myself on the back a little bit. And you can also see how much cooler our new studio is. But there are a lot of high upside guys that need to be owned in more leagues. I want to start with Tevin Coleman. He is owned in 75% of leagues, but I still think his upside is too high to keep on waiver wires. You know, he didn't really have a chance to separate himself from Freeman because he was banged up during this preseason, but I think he is going to be their guy. His big play potential is huge. Absolutely love Tevin Coleman. Next is Shane Vereen, only owned in 70% of leagues. Obviously, he has more value in PPR leagues, but he's not just a PPR guy. I think the Giants are going to get the ball in his hands more than the Patriots did. In 150 touches last year, Vereen had 800 total yards and 5 total touchdowns. Those are pretty good stats for only touching the ball 150 times. I think the Giants will probably get the ball in his hands. I'm thinking at least 200, and if Rashad Jennings goes down, I think they might lean on Vereen a little bit more. I mean, Williams will factor in there if that happens, but I think the Giants brought over Vereen to give him a decent role. Next, Alfred Blue, only owned in 65% of leagues. Here's the deal. Arian Foster's owned in 90% of leagues, which means Alfred Blue should be owned in 90% of leagues. If you drafted Arian Foster, it's a package deal. You got to get both those guys to lock up that Texans running back because it's a soft tissue injury, and Arian Foster's been battling those for years. Even if he does come back in 4 weeks, which I think is very optimistic for this injury, he's still going to be a very high injury risk, and you need to have Blue on your bench. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. You have to use 2 roster spots if you drafted Arian Foster. That's just how it works. Danny Woodhead is next, only on 50% of the leagues. I got to talk about my boy Danny. And again, a lot like Shane Vereen. Obviously, PPR leagues, that's where the value is. But even in standard leagues, if Woodhead stays healthy, he's pretty much a lock in my opinion for over 1,000 total yards. And he does find the end zone more than people give him credit for. I mean, I think between 6 and 10 touchdowns is kind of where he'll probably finish if he stays healthy for the whole year. So even in standard leagues, he is, you know, a bench guy that can give you some flex options when you're getting through your bye week. So Danny Woodhead definitely needs to be owned in more leagues. So I got 3 high upside running backs that I think you should take a look at in deeper leagues. And you hear, you know, fantasy football being compared to the stock market every once in a while, buy low, sell high. But also with your bench, I think you need to have, you know, safe stocks and risky stocks. Like if you have a whole bench, you know, filled with Roddy Whites and Reggie Bushes of the world, I mean, yes, they could have decent years, but their blow-up potential is behind them. You know, so you got to have some safe guys and some risky guys, because those risky ones, when they pay out, that's what turns a playoff team into a championship team. First one I want to talk about is Josh Robinson. Out there with Indy, only on about 5% of leagues right now. He's been announced as the main backup for Frank Gore. I mean, I like Frank Gore's upside this year, but he is older, and if he goes down, you got the starting running back for the Colts, which is always a good thing. Matt Jones is the next one for the Redskins, only on in 20% of leagues. Alfred Morris is good, but I don't think his job is so safe that Jones can't carve out a role. And if Morris gets hurt, you know, Jones could take over and run with it and not look back. And then Dion Lewis is another guy I want to talk about out there with New England, only on 5% of leagues. He's a smaller guy, you know, kind of Danny Woodhead-ish, you know, just a guy that can just kind of, you know, zoom around and kind of get undetected by the defense. But I think the Patriots could give him kind of the old Danny Woodhead role when he was there, or the old Shane Vereen role when he was there. I think there's a very good chance. Now Lewis is kind of oft injured. He does get injured a decent amount, but I do like his upside. I think he's someone that you should pay attention to, especially in PPR leagues. Let's move on to wide receivers. 2 must-adds in all leagues. Michael Floyd is one that I'm really surprised he's not getting more attention. Only on a 65% of leagues. I know he's coming off the finger injury, but I don't think it's going to cost him that much time. If he didn't have that injury, you know, he'd be drafted, you know, in the late middle rounds, and then, you know, he has a 1 or 2 week injury and people just ignore him. He has very much big play potential in terms of, you know, being a guy that's over 1,000 yards. I mean, he was off to a great start last year, and then Carson Palmer got hurt. Palmer's healthy again. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and if he does, Floyd's going to be a good week-to-week wide receiver. Stevie Johnson's another guy I want to talk about. He's with San Diego now. He had 3 straight years with Buffalo where he had over 1,000 yards. I mean, that's impressive for a Buffalo receiver. And, you know, then he kind of got banged up. Then he got lost over in San Francisco. But now he's back with the Chargers now. You know, I really think it's a good fit for them. All the preseason reports have been positive. And I really think with him as well, 1,000+ yards is very plausible. He's only owned in 65% of leagues. Couple more receivers. Brandon Coleman, a guy that I'm really excited about. 6'6", kind of fits the build. Colson's getting a little bit older. You know, Cooks is a good receiver, but, you know, is he really going to be kind of, you know, a guy that they can count on for every play? Is he going to be more kind of a boom or bust type guy? Like, there's still some question marks out there. You know, who's going to get all the targets that Jimmy Graham was getting? I'm a big fan of Coleman. I think his upside is huge, only on 25% of leagues. And Ruben Randall is the last receiver I wanted to talk about. Surprised he's not getting more attention. You know, he has been getting a little bit better over the years, and with Victor Cruz banged up, you know, I really think they are going to look at Randall a little bit more. And that Giants offense has a lot of weapons. I do think Randall's going to have some really big games this year. I was surprised to see he's only on 40% of leagues. One tight end for you I want to talk about, that's Coby Fleener. I'm a little surprised by this one. You know, I know they got Allen out there. He might even be the better fantasy tight end in Indy. So he might not even be the best fantasy tight end on his team, but I still think he deserves more attention. I mean, Andrew Luck's going to probably throw for right around 5,000 yards. You know, so even if Hilton, Allen, and Johnson all combined for, you know, right around 3,000 yards, there's still a couple thousand yards to go around. And I do think, you know, Fleener's just getting better and better every year. I don't think they're just going to ignore him. They're going to do a lot of 2 wide receiver sets. I just was surprised that he wasn't owned in more leagues. And then Blake Bortles is a quarterback I want to talk about. He did some good things last year. You know, and unfortunately Julius Thomas is hurt right now. He was going to be a nice addition to that offense, but they did get, you know, some running back help with Yeldon, and I do think Bortles is going to take steps this year. And when you add what he can do with his legs, I think he can certainly flirt with being a top 15 quarterback this year, and I think he needs to get added onto more benches, you know, because I think he could definitely be a guy that can help your team. And then a pick up and play defense for you. I like the Colts. It's not so much that I like the Colts, it's that I don't like the Bills offense. You know, I just not much faith necessarily in Tyrod Taylor. You know, I think he might show some flashes. I think he might have some big plays. But here's the thing. The Colts defense, they gave up a lot of points. They weren't that great, but they did force over 40 sacks last year. So I think it's pretty simple. Try to get some pressure on the young quarterback, force him to make a mistake. It only takes 1 interception for a touchdown for your defense to have a good week, and I think that the chances for the Colts to do that this week are pretty high. So if you're not necessarily liking your Week 1 defensive matchup, consider the Colts as a plug and play. Now, this is not the full list. Can't talk about everyone on the show, so I do have a write-up that will be up later today, so check that out up on the website. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We're going to be doing 3 shows a week this year. If you got questions, post them in our forums. Brent and I will be back later in the week for the Fantasy Fix Show, and then we'll also have a DraftKings daily show for you where we kind of give you some sleepers and guys that we think are good buys for the daily leagues. So if you're not in the daily leagues yet, go ahead and get in them and be a part of the fun with figuring out those daily leagues as well. Until next time, I'm Dustin.